We will implode more patriotic news. Thank you. Trump just caught an Obama operative lurking in his house and makes him pay for sick thing he did. It goes without saying that the Obama administration was incredibly corrupt. Barack Obama and all that surrounded him were people that hardly ever acted in America's best interests. Thankfully, after years of America being held hostage by these socialist elites, Donald Trump was elected as president. However, many of Obama's operatives are still deep in the White House. Over the last 6 months, Trump and his team have been draining the swamp of these traitors to the country, and now they just found another one. After Donald Trump was elected as president, he stated that he believed that he had been wiretapped. Of course, the left laughed this off, saying that Trump was delusional and was mentally unsound. However, after a few short months, it was revealed that Trump was indeed spied on by members of Obama's administration. Former National Security Advisor Susan Rice was implicated as the person responsible for unmasking the identities of multiple Trump presidential campaign workers and transition team. Now, Ben Rhodes, who worked closely with Susan Rice, has been named as a person of interest in this growing investigation. In a letter to the National Security Agency, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes has requested officials to provide details on any unmaskings requested by Rhodes between January 1, 2016 to January 20, 2017, congressional sources said. Sarah A. Carter from Circa wrote the stunning details. Former Obama White House National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes is now emerging as a person of interest in the House Intelligence Committee's unmasking investigation, according to a letter sent Tuesday by the committee to the National Security Agency, NSA. This adds Rhodes to the growing list of top Obama government officials who may have improperly unmasked Americans in communications intercepted overseas by the NSA, Circle has confirmed. The House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, R. California, sent the letter to the National Security Agency requesting the number of unmaskings made by Rhodes from January 1, 2016 to January 20, 2017, according to congressional sources who spoke with Circa. Rhodes, who worked closely with former National Security Advisor Susan Rice and was a former Deputy National Security Advisor for Strategic Communications for President Obama, became a focus of the committee during its review of classified information to assess whether laws were broken regarding NSA-intercepted communications of President Trump, members of his administration and other Americans before and after the election, according to congressional officials. The committee is requesting that the NSA deliver the information on Rhodes by August 21. Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Samantha Power, Rice and former CIA Director John Brennan have all been named in the House Intelligence Committee's investigation into the unmasking of Americans. A letter sent last week from Nunes to Dan Coats, the Director of National Intelligence, suggested that top Obama aides made hundreds of unmasking requests during the 2016 presidential elections. The story, which was first reported by The Hill last week, stated that the requests were made without specific justifications as to why the unmasking was necessary. Rice and Brennan have confirmed they sought the unredacted names of Americans in NSA-sourced intelligence reports but insisted their requests were routine parts of their work and had no nefarious intentions. Power also has the legal authority to unmask officials, though the practice has not reportedly been common for someone in her position. Rhodes also had the legal authority to unmask Americans in NSA-sourced intelligence reports. But intelligence and congressional sources question the extent of the unmasking. If you have not been keeping count, Rhodes is the fourth person from the Obama administration to be officially named a person of interest in this investigation. At this time, the House Intelligence Committee is investigating to see if any laws were broken by Rhodes or anyone else. As previously mentioned, Susan Rice is currently under investigation, as well as former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Samantha Power and ex-CIA Director John Brennan. Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats wrote a letter last week to Representative Nunes, a California Republican, claiming that the Obama administration had requested hundreds of unmaskings during the contentious 2016 election. Nunes wrote, We have found evidence that current and former government officials had easy access to U.S. person information and that it is possible that they used this information to achieve partisan political purposes, including the selective, anonymous leaking of such information. Now, it is important to note that Rhodes did have the authority as Deputy National Security Advisor to order the unmaskings. However, it does set a dangerous precedent. Private citizens' privacy was clearly violated, and for what is not entirely clear. As Americans, we have the right to our privacy, and also a Fourth Amendment to protect us from unlawful searches and seizures. If the Obama administration had questions about Trump's transition team, there must have been a better way to acquire that information. Though while there are more questions than answers, one thing is abundantly clear. All of the leftover Obama administration holdovers should be fired before more damage can occur. H.T. Gateway. Pelosi just got the worst news of her life. 4 words just ruined her Wednesday morning. Most of us have probably laid in our beds at night and dreamed of saying something that would scare our enemies senseless. Dreaming of the day when you can tell off someone who's done you wrong is kind of a universal thing, but what if it's someone you've never met? While many of us probably don't actually know our representatives, lawmakers may not realize that having 24-hour news stations with their faces plastered on it around the clock means that we feel like we know them a whole lot more than we really do. Our representatives are supposed to go to Washington and work for the welfare of the people, by doing what the people wish. However, they don't always do that. They, many times, decide to do what they see fit instead, angering those who elected them. And as we've noticed in recent months, angry people tend to lash out. Hopefully in a constructive way, but sadly not always. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi came in contact with someone who was less than recently, and it didn't go well for her. She was out shaking hand and kissing babies when one guy moved in and told her something very ominous. Here's the transcript and video of how the whole thing transpired. If I were Nancy, I'd be concerned right now. Via the Gateway Pundit, on Tuesday, YouTube channel, Conservative Merkins, posted a video of an unnamed man approaching House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi in D.C. with an ominous message: "Prison time is coming soon, be ready." Nancy, the man called out as he went to shake Pelosi's hand. "Hi," Nancy said to the man hesitantly. "Prison time is coming soon, be ready." Pelosi appeared shaken by what the man had said to her. As Pelosi scurried away, the man called out to her, "Donald Trump, not much time left." Pelosi chuckled as she caught up with the group of people she was walking with. She may have laughed it off, but those types of encounters can't be fun for her. Worst case scenario, she's worried about people who hate her getting that close to her. Best case, she's got to be ticked off that she's hated that much. Why is she hated, you ask? Well, aside from all the terrible liberal policy that she's pushed through during her decades in office, she's one of the most powerful women in America, and she's going senile and refusing to step down. Her people can't count on her if she can't count on her own brain. Also, she's one of the most liberal of the liberal, and even if you supported it initially, after a few years of that, we start to understand why it's a terrible idea. She did an interview with Fox News about what's coming for the Democratic Party next year. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi on Sunday again dismissed assertions that she should resign her long-held leadership post, saying, "I am a master legislator." Pelosi, who has been the House's top Democrat since 2007, has faced repeated suggestion that she stepped down since 2010, when Republicans took control of the chamber in a wave election. Self-promotion is a terrible thing, but somebody has to do it, the California lawmaker told Fox News Sunday. "I am a master legislator. I know the budget to the nth degree. I feel very confident about the support I have in my caucus." Other House Democrats have tried unsuccessfully to replace the 77-year-old Pelosi, most recently after modest House gains in the 2016 elections, largely the result of Democrats failing to articulate a message of economic prosperity to the middle class, particularly those in Middle America. and rumblings among Democrats resurfaced this year after the party failed in 4 special House elections to take a Republican-held seat. Pelosi acknowledged that the candidate's largely anti-President Trump message had some influence on the losses but insisted that Washington Democrats knew a better deal message, unveiled last week, will help the party going forward. "I don't want to go into that," Pelosi said Sunday. "I want to go into our new plan." She suggested that congressional Democrats, not the party's presidential nominee, control the message in so-called midterm elections. Democrats would need their own wave elections to win more than 40 GOP-held House seats to retake control of the chamber. However, Pelosi also dismissed questions about whether her party would win enough seats and her running for House Speaker. "That's so unimportant," she said. "What is important is that we have a better deal. We have unity in the party. We are proud of the fact that the party has diverse thinking and we can accommodate that. We had a New Deal a few years ago, and it's what got us welfare and a whole host of other mammoth government programs that are breaking our backs today. If they've got another one of those, they can just go put it where Obama put his change. While we shouldn't ever resort to personal violence or even threats of violence, let's hope that Pelosi was startled enough to rethink the damage she's planning to do to Americans in 2018. Source: The Gateway Pundit, Fox News. Share if you're ready to see a replacement for Pelosi. 7 months in White House, Trump just found Obama's hidden surprise he's been living with. When it comes to President Trump, liberals will find the most ridiculous things to nitpick him on. First it was Trump looking mean in his White House official photo. Then it was Meanie Pants Trump having 2 scoops of ice cream at a White House dinner while everyone else had one. After failing miserably for months to invent a scandal that would bring Trump down, liberals are now freaking the hell out about a private comment Trump made to a close friend about the White House being a dump. But hilariously, liberals' criticism of Trump's comments has only brought to light an embarrassing issue regarding Obama's cleanliness, a fact that liberals are ashamed to admit. Liberals are all over social media this week, horrified that President Trump supposedly told members at his Bedminster Golf Club that White House is a real dump, saying Trump's criticism of his new home shows a lack of respect for the people's house. The Huffington Post reported that White House is a real dump, Trump reportedly told members of his Trump National Golf Course in Bedminster, New Jersey, before teeing off recently. The remark was included in a lengthy golf magazine feature published Tuesday exploring Trump's complicated relationship with the sport. The article also appears in the August 7th issue of Sports Illustrated. But Trump might be 100% correct in his assertions, as Obama White House staffers are coming forward with horrifying stories of how the White House under Obama was literally infested with roaches. "It was the size of a small drone," said Martha Joint-Kumar, professor of political science at Towson University, who led the effort to capture one of Obama's roaches. "I wanted to bag it so that the GSA would know what kind of issue we had," she said. "I chased it. But it got away behind some wiring." Apparently the Obamas brought more to the White House besides just their crappy anti-American attitudes, as the roach and rodent problem was so severe under Obama's presidency, that multiple stories were written about it online. The main victims of Obama's roach problem were liberal reporters, whose unbreakable love for Obama made them completely ignore the rodent and roach infestation, where according to the National Journal, we're all happy and eager to work in the dungeon-like basement, flooded, reeking of mold, covered in rat traps, and infested with dead rats and cockroaches. Whiteoutpress.com also reported on Obama's disgusting roach infestation back in 2013. But one would think that the most powerful man in the richest country in the world could stop cockroaches, rats and mice from taking over his home. Carter had mice. Bush had rats. And Obama has cockroaches. Perhaps it's fitting that the entire White House press pool, the members of the media assigned to cover the president by their respective news outlets, are the main victims of the current cockroach problem. They spun their stories to help get Barack Obama elected, and they're even dedicated enough to censor the latest vomit-inducing episode just to spare the administration some embarrassment. Obama not only became infamous attracting roaches at the White House, but throughout his presidency, repeatedly attracted flies while on camera, making many question his cleanliness habits, as flies, as we know, are attracted to filth and stink. Obama's pest issues publicly began back on September 18, 2008, while being interviewed in Nevada during his campaign. The flies were so badly harassing Obama, that the interview had to be cut short. In 2009, many were again astonished at Obama's ability to attract flies, as he continuously swatted swarms of them away during an interview with CNBC in 2009. More flies plagued Obama on June 22, 2010 speech pushing his disastrous Obamacare. A fly landed smack in the middle of his forehead January 24, 2013 during his speech nominating financial regulatory officials to the SEC, where the Drudge Report did entire story on Obama's uncanny ability to attract the disgusting creatures. The Daily Rush will put together a rather creepy compilation video of Obama's history with flies, showing the former Commander-in-Chief's rich history for attracting the disgusting bugs. When one ponders what flies and roaches are attracted to, Obama's continual run-in with these creatures begins to make perfect sense. As for Trump calling Obama's previous residence a dump, if roaches are still scampering around in platoon-sized elements at the White House like they were 7 months ago, can you really blame Trump for not wanting to reside in Obama's filth? The Blaze, InfoWars, Young Cons, Vanity Fair, Huffington